Awareness is the most important gift of the Force. If you cannot be aware, you are not a magician and you will never become one. Do we really control our lives? Absolutely not. We do not know our invisible higher nature. Can we master our deep hidden potential? Without a doubt. But how, you ask? Through the practice of awareness or magical attention. The magician and warrior of the spirit, who became the most mystical writer of the 20th century, Carlos Castaneda, was the first to tell about magical attention. At one of his closed seminars at Yale University, Carlos Castaneda revealed one of the most significant secrets of magic for a limited circle, the practice of awareness. Without the practice of awareness, no person is able to touch the real secret knowledge and develop one's inner hidden power, capable of revealing one's purpose to a person. When performed correctly, the practice of magical attention allows one to interact with the Force and feel the energy currents of the world. The practice of magical attention consists of 3 stages: attention to one's own state, awareness of action, and awareness of listening. But first of all, before beginning to study the practice of awareness, it is necessary to feel and see the difference between realization and awareness. Speaking to the audience, Castaneda explained that realization is a complete act tied to a specific situation. Awareness is a state that concerns all situations at once and lasts continuously and constantly throughout human life. The first stage of awareness is attention to your state. Performing this stage of the magical attention practice requires close attention to your physical, emotional, and mental states at the current moment in time. It is necessary to clearly feel and describe how you feel, and most importantly, what you feel at the level of the body, emotions, and thoughts. Listen to any minor detail in all 3 states and track even the slightest change. To do this, sit comfortably, relax, close your eyes, and begin to breathe deeply using the diaphragm. Try to let go of the flow of thoughts and stop controlling it. Just observe and record your physical, emotional, and mental states. Performing this stage of the awareness practice requires utmost sincerity and honesty with yourself. At the same time, during the first stage of the practice of magical attention, you may feel sharp emotional fluctuations and pronounced sensations on any of the 3 levels. In this case, the practice should be stopped immediately. This means that either your power has come too close to you, or you are deceiving yourself and your sensations are ordinary hallucinations. In the first case, your condition is dangerous, since you need to learn to interact with the power, showing calmness, patience, and humility. You may not be ready for this. In the second case, you waste your internal magical potential in vain and lose energy that you could use to reveal your magical gift. In fact, during the first stage of the practice, you should not feel anything unusual or atypical for you at the level of your body, emotions, and thoughts. Any emotional fluctuation and tension are stress for your higher nervous system, which forces your body to physically spend additional energy potential to restore balance and return to a stable and steady state. At the same time, you need to understand that the amount of energy that you spend on the physical level in your everyday life and the energy reserve you need for spiritual development are the same energy potential that you acquired with your birth. In other words, if in your everyday life you live harmoniously with nature and with yourself, treat your physical body wisely and with care, putting your life in order and responsibly fulfilling your obligations, then the amount of energy spent on maintaining a healthy and efficient state of your body and mind becomes significantly less than in the case of a disorderly attitude to your own life and your own body. This means that in this case, you will be able to use much more energy in the process of your spiritual evolution and in revealing your true magical nature and your higher self. In general, you need to learn to spend energy only on what is absolutely necessary for you. This is achieved through a healthy physical body, restrained and stable emotional behavior, and a sober and clear thought process. A great example of this approach to life and the appropriate use of energy is a Taoist monk. By refusing to waste energy at the level of the body, emotions, and thoughts, Taoist monks maintain excellent health even in old age. The cornerstone of the philosophy of restraint and refusal to waste energy is not the development of additional physical or spiritual capabilities, but the preservation and conservation of the energy available to you and the cessation of interaction with everything that is an obstacle and barrier on your path to the development of sensitivity and interaction with the force and with your higher true self. Emotional outbursts and vivid sensations during the first stage of the practice of magical attention are an indicator of unpreparedness for the entire practice. The practice of magical attention, revealed by Carlos Castaneda at a closed seminar, must be started together with the practice of putting your life in order. Having organized and built your own life in accordance with your magical power, you will be able to accumulate the free energy you need to realize your destiny. The practice of bringing life into order is based on three fundamental laws: the law of body order, the law of thought order, and the law of three magical affirmations. The law of body order is based on understanding the correct principles of nutrition and the rejection of any food poisons, such as sugar, nicotine, alcohol, and other narcotic substances. At the same time, the law of body order presupposes the cultivation of interest and deep sympathy for physical culture and an active lifestyle. The law of order of thoughts implies the desire for education, high morality and culture, development of critical thinking to incoming ideas and information and to one's own environment. Do not interact with those ideas and people that clutter, exhaust and oppress you, exhausting you physically and emotionally. Interact only with those ideas and people that inspire you and motivate you to develop, evolve, and create. There are three magical affirmations that can be used to control your internal and external state, namely, I am not there where I must be, I am not doing what I must do, and I am indulging in vice. If at least one of the three affirmations is true at this moment and under these circumstances, then the practitioner is advised to reconsider their attitude to the correct use of their internal energy resource. For those of you who have firmly decided to change your destiny for the better and put your own life in order, we will leave a link to the practice of putting your life in order from our research team in the description of the video. People do not know how to lose. When they see that they cannot win, they always surrender. What people call a vice or a bad habit is nothing more than surrender. Surrender without a fight is a fall into the mud. The second stage of the practice of magical attention is awareness of action and is connected with one of the key magical concepts that was revealed by Carlos Castaneda during a closed seminar. We are talking about alertness. Alertness is being in the highest state of attention. Attention, according to sorcerers, is not a quality of the mind, but of the physical body. Alertness allows the sorcerer to instantly react to the changing world and redistribute efforts and energy in the most effective way. Alertness is bringing the body into an active state, emotions into a stable and balanced state, and thoughts into a state of complete clarity and depth. Alertness does not mean tension. Imagine a tiger. The tiger is always attentive and vigilant. At any moment, the tiger is ready to jump and deliver a lightning-fast and decisive blow. It expends energy and effort only at the moment of the jump and at the moment of the blow. The rest of the time, the tiger's body is relaxed. The movements are light and not tense. Alertness is essentially total attention to the things of the world. In alertness, a person sees with clarity and precision that all things in the world are connected. With this vision comes the ability to compare. When a person knows how to compare, one influences the course of events and therefore wins the battle for one's own freedom. The essence of awareness of action is the necessary state with which any action in the life of a magician is performed. Carlos Castaneda revealed to his readers the secret that any human action is a magical act that must be performed in the necessary state of awareness. The necessary state of awareness affects the level of the body, emotions and thoughts. The physical state is alertness and readiness for action. The emotional state is a feeling of total calm mixed with quiet and deep joy. The mental state is a state of open flow when the thought is extracted from the depths of memory without any effort. It is necessary to say a few words about quiet and deep joy. Joy is a magical state which, according to the teachings of sorcerers, which Castaneda wrote about in his books, is different from the state of emotional ecstasy and infantilism, and indicates that the sorcerer follows the path that has a heart. Carlos Castaneda's teacher, Don Juan, said that every person is surrounded by a million paths that will lead oneself to nowhere, and there's only one path that has a heart. It is this path that is the purpose of man and is capable of leading oneself to the full disclosure of one's magical potential. Where does quiet and calm joy come from? There are ancient teachings that say that our earth is not a physical shell on which nature develops, but a manifestation of the spiritual nature of a mighty conscious being whose physical shell is the planet on which we live. In other words, the earth is a spiritual living being that goes through the stages of evolution together with people. The earth, like any person, has a spirit or divine origin. The ancients called this spirit Ra, and conventionally believed that it was in the center of the earth. In the Slavic family of languages, there is a word RADOST, which means joy, and can be broken down into two words, Ra and Dost. Ra means light and warmth from the spiritual sun of the earth Ra. Dost means abundance. Thus, the meaning of the word RADOST can be revealed as the abundance of light and warmth in a person's life due to one's subtle and close connection with the spiritual heart of the earth. Before his departure, Don Juan revealed to Castaneda the main secret of a warrior, which was that a warrior must love the earth and be in close interaction with it, because it is the earth that is capable of giving a warrior a colossal magical boost that can help a person choose the path that has a heart. The spiritual heart of the earth, Ra, is a source of deep and quiet joy. To experience joy, you need to learn to connect with the spiritual heart of the earth. The feeling of quiet and deep joy means that a person has enough pure spiritual light in one's own spiritual heart, flowing from the spiritual heart of the earth. The feeling of quiet and deep joy is the only tuning fork that indicates that you are doing everything right and moving along the path of your destiny. We invite you to begin to open your spiritual heart and learn to connect it with the spiritual heart of the earth in order to accumulate joy within yourself. For this, we will leave a link to the practice Connection with the Heart of Ra in the description of the video, which we ourselves use in our spiritual searches. We can listen, but we are always afraid to hear. To hear means to plunge into reality. The third stage of the practice of magical attention is the awareness of listening. At his closed seminar, Carlos Castaneda revealed a magical fact. An ordinary person does not know how to listen, but always hears superficially. The reason for superficial listening and superficial attention to what an ordinary person hears from another person is fear. The teaching of the sorcerers, to which Castaneda belonged, says that a person is a magical being who is in constant communication with the immortal, conscious, and eternally comprehending essence, which the sorcerers called spirit. Every person has a spirit. At the same time, the magical teaching reveals the secret of the fact that direct interaction with the spirit in a person is blocked by the tonal. The tonal is the part of the human consciousness that is responsible for the perception of the surrounding world within the framework of ordinary, everyday life. The source of fear is the tonal, which protects its boundaries and does not allow a person to hear and perceive in the story of another person the power of the spirit, which the sorcerers called reality. By interacting with reality, a person develops another part of consciousness in oneself, which is capable of perceiving the hidden and unmanifested magical nature, and which sorcerers call the Nagual. The tonal blocks the Nagual and therefore makes a person feel fear and listen superficially and inattentively. This means to listen and not to hear reality. True listening is contact with the Nagual. The mere possibility of this terrifies the tonal. Another reason why a person does not hear is pain. An ordinary person, as understood by magicians, has lost one's connection with the spirit. Without a deep connection with the spirit, the tonal of such a person becomes a tyrant in one's life and forces a person to acquire the consciousness of a predator. which tyrannizes other people and all of nature. The predator is blind and cruel, aggressive and uncontrollable. Most importantly, the consciousness of a predator is a source of pain both in a person's life and in the lives of those around oneself. Awareness of listening allows you to hear someone else's pain and feel your own pain. Awareness of listening reveals to a person the inferiority of the consciousness of a predator and frees oneself from the tyranny of the tonal, taking a person out from under its power. If you want us to cover the topic of the consciousness of a predator in more detail and tell you how to get rid of this parasitic principle in the consciousness, write to us about it in the comments. Awareness of listening allows one to approach a deep understanding of empathy. Empathy leads to the awareness of someone else's pain as one's own. Everyone is in pain. Pain is the same for everyone. There is no such thing as someone else's pain. The tonal replaced the concept of empathy with the concept of compassion. Empathy is the use of one's feelings and the activation of the Nagual in order to get rid of the source of pain. Compassion is a theological concept that is based on a sense of self-importance and a feeling of pity for one's own person. Compassion sounds like I am helping you because I expect that in a similar situation you will help me. This is what the consciousness of a predator says. Empathy can be recognized as, I feel your pain as my own. I will help you get rid of the pain so that there will be less pain in the world. This is what my spirit tells me. Compassion is a category of the tonal. Empathy is a category of the Nagual that leads to a deep awareness of unity with the energy flows of the world and with the entire human family. Awareness of listening will reveal feelings and the Nagual in you, thanks to which the connection with your spirit will become conscious and stable. The spirit will show you and lead you to the path that has a heart at the end of which your destiny will meet you. An indicator of whether you are able to practice awareness of listening is inspiration and awareness of the need for creation and creativity for the benefit of all humanity. The practice of magical attention is an accessible technique for increasing attention in life and revealing internal hidden reserves. The practice of awareness is a consistent practice consisting of attention to one's own state, awareness of action, and awareness of listening. Magical attention will reveal your magical potential and lead you to your own destiny. The practice of awareness is the golden key to understanding our true essence, left to us as a legacy from the wise ones of this world.